Hello everyone, I'm your host with the most, and today we're going to be talking about deities and their syncretism. What is syncretism? Pretty self-explanatory, but it is the relation of a deity with another, either a name, worship, function, etc. I'm sure you already know a little bit about synchronized deities, such as the Greek deities with the Roman ones, like Ares and Mars, Aphrodite and Venus, and Apollo and Apollo. You get it. A lot of people, especially outside of the, this Hellenic polytheism space, seem to think that Greek and Roman deities are the same, modernly and in the eyes of the ancient Greeks and Romans, but obviously that's not true. Romans came in with their own gods, and then of course, colonization was colonizationing. So yeah. But the tale of syncretism isn't always so forced. A lot of time, while doing business with people of other cultures or while traveling, people would share their worship, and then those people would bring those gods in or somehow incorporate their worship. Today we're going to talk about some examples of syncretism, what we can get out of it as modern worshippers, and what I think about it. Now, past the classic examples of syncretism of Roman and Greek gods, let's talk about some others. Immediately, some that come to my mind are Ares, Apollo, Aphrodite, and Cybele. And I know what you're thinking. Of course, Ares is always the first to come to mind, but leave me alone. There's a specific reason why this is so, because it's one of my favorite quotes that I have on my wallpaper. The one who brought me forth, the invincible Ares, was brought forth via syncretism, if that makes sense. Let me explain. So the quote was said by Enzana, the last pagan king of Axum, which was in Africa. In Axum, the principal god of the kings of Axum was often invoked as Ares in their Greek inscriptions. Continuing on in Axum, another example is an anonymous king in the 2nd or 3rd century who commissioned an inscription, and he referred to Ares as my greatest god Ares, who also begat me, through whom I brought under my sway various peoples. Other than in mainland Greece, Ares is worshipped a lot more than you would think. As you can see, he was an important deity for the kings of Axum, but he was also pretty important in Asia Minor. It is likely that he was conflated with a local hero, or conflated with an indigenous god of that region and given a Greek name. In southern Asia Minor, he was actually very popular. He was even recorded as an oracular deity and had his own important ritual to the people there. In this ritual, they would bind Ares to the land so that he would protect it and also cultivate their crops. While this is more or less not really syncretism of Ares with another god, I want you to save this for later because I'm going to talk more about deities being called another name. Apollo is more complicated because it seems to be a common belief that Apollo did originate in Greece and that he is the most Greek of all the Greek gods, whatever that means. While his name is not found in the Linear B tablets, and his name origins are more so a mystery, it was extremely important and again considered the most Greek or Hellenic of all the Olympians. But there is some proof of his non-Greek origins and or the syncretism of gods of the lands before the Greeks / around the time of the Greeks. We're getting there. For example, the Minoan deity Paiwan, who's worshipped in Crete, was conflated with Apollo and was speculated to have started at Delphi. And a non-Greek origin that has long been speculated is actually of Anatolian origin. His mother, Leto, her name is Lydian in origin, and she was worshipped along Asia Minor. The inspiration of his auricular cult likely came from Anatolia, being spread from the rituals of the Hittites to the Greeks, though the emphasis on the 7th day being an important day for Apollo suggests a Babylonian origin. So, long story short, who really knows? But of course, how can I forget to mention ancient Egypt? A lot of deities were syncretized with the ancient Egyptian deities, and Apollo and Horus were two of them. Not only would Apollo be depicted like Horus, Horus would be depicted like Apollo. Another one is Granus, a Celtic deity, and he would often be called Apollo Granus. And on that, there's not much on Granus alone, so it seems like he was really just conflated with Apollo. Also, this isn't a fact, but I'm guessing the reason why Apollo wasn't syncretized for many reasons besides culture differences was because he was, and I guess still is, the it girl of Greek religion. He did, and does, everything. Aphrodite was usually syncretized with Hathor and Isis from ancient Egyptian religion. Besides that, she's said to have probably originated from the ancient Eastern goddess Astarte or Atart and the Mesopotamian goddess Ishtar Inanna. Something lesser known about Aphrodite is that she was sometimes conflated, or I guess syncretized, I don't know if that's the right word though, with the Fates, and was actually said to be the oldest of them. And in fact, Callimachus said that there are multiple Aphrodites. I just wanted to throw that in as something cool about Aphrodite. Lastly, this is the big one, everything going on with Cybele, Rhea, and Demeter. So, first, Cybele was a goddess from Phrygia, who Greek colonists eventually started incorporating into their worship. From there, she was conflated with Gaia for her earth aspects, Rhea, seen as her Minoan equivalent, and Demeter for the harvest mother aspects. Rhea, in classical Greek worship and early traditions, she is called the mother of the gods, same as Cybele, especially for her Roman counterpart / name, Magna Mater. And lastly, Demeter was often seen as the same as Cybele, and in his work on piety, Melanippes said that Demeter and the mother of the gods are one and the same. So basically it's, if Cybele is the same as Demeter and Rhea and Cybele are both the mother of the gods, and Demeter is the same as Cybele and the mother of the gods, who's flying the plane? Anyway, I find the syncretism to be so interesting. We're going to talk more about this in a second, but being seen as essentially the same deity is just so wild. And it likely makes it confusing because what do you mean Demeter and the mother of the gods are the same? Cybele and Rhea just makes more sense to me. Now for the most important part, my opinion. I'm just kidding. But what do I think on syncretism? I think it's pretty cool. Do I think under syncretism all these gods are the same? Absolutely not. Especially for the Roman equivalents. I guess except Apollo, because I don't know. I don't really know what to think about that. In my opinion, it's just Apollo and Roman religion. I think he snuck in there. But I think in certain cases, I do think it can be true that synchronized deities are the same. And of course, it also depends on how you worship. Roman and Greek deities are the same, then, I'm happy for you. And like I said in my What Are the Gods video, we don't know deities' true names, and the names that we have for them are just how we conceptualize them, / how they want us to conceptualize them. So sometimes when gods are syncretized and worshipped for the same purpose, I do just think it's the same deity. For example, I told you to keep it in your back pocket, but the Ares Mahrem example is perfect at this. And I'm sorry, I don't think I said his name. So the king of the god of the kings of Axum was named Mahrem. Anyway, but I don't think in this case that it was two deities being conflated in Axum or Mahrem being given a Greek name. I honestly think it was just Ares. And this is similar to Aphrodite. I don't think that Astarte, Ishtar, Inanna, and everybody else in Aphrodite are all the same deity, but when Aphrodite's worship was brought over originally, she was known as Ishtar or Ishtar Inanna. Really, there's no perfect way to know this because low-key religions were just popping up, and we don't know exactly how, but I do think when a deity is trying to make themselves known to a group of people, sometimes they just go by a different name, sometimes of a deity that's already known to them. For example, when Aphrodite is being brought over from Syria, they of course already knew Ishtar, so Aphrodite's kind of like, okay, yeah, I'm Ishtar. I guess. That's kind of how I explained it. And in the same vein, sometimes it wasn't the deity that did this when people mingled with other cultures. Like I said, they would just try to find common ground with their religions and would often relate their deities to one another. So taking from that example, instead of Aphrodite being like, yeah, sure, I'm Ishtar, it would be like, somebody from Syria bringing her over to Crete, which I'm pretty sure is where she originated from, in Greece. Y'all, I'm sorry. I'm low-key dumb. I don't know why I said this. It's Cyprus, not Crete. They're like, yeah, this is just Ishtar. And then eventually she got known as Aphrodite. And from some official sources, we have From Dedications to Double Deities by Jane Wallenstein, or one of those two, Wallenstein. And of course, I'll link it down below. But it says, educated and traveling Greeks were familiar with the idea that Aphrodite Urania was the Greek name of Astarte of Ascalon, at least since Herodotus' writings. So the Greeks, or at least the educated ones, knew that it was very common to call deities different names in different, not countries, but I guess cultures is the best word. People that lived under Greek colonies, but were not Greek themselves, often sacrificed to their deities under Greek names and under their native name. I propose the possibility that examined case studies are attempts by 3 non-Greek dedicators to present their non-Greek recipient deities to the mainly Greek audience of a Delian sanctuary. An interpretatio and interpretatio Gracia, I think, I'm not good at Latin, made not by, but for Greeks. This suggestion is surely valid for the dedications mentioning Astarte, Palestine, Aphrodite, Urania. Since these votives, without any doubt, were made by non-Greeks, Phoenicians of Ascalon. The identity of the third dedicator is less clear, but it is highly possible that he was also a foreigner. If we also accept Mora's hypothesis, he could have been Syrian who had taken a Greek name, or a Greek of the Eastern realm. With Cybele, Rhea, and Demeter, it is a little more complicated. For Cybele Rhea, I think she is separate from Demeter, but as you can tell by the way I worded the name, I pretty much think Cybele and Rhea are the same / similar. How I think of it is that they are two sides of the same coin. I think that they can be aspects of each other if they're not considered completely the same. In my mind, when I think of both of them, I think of them as like one of those statues with the 2 or 3 sides or 2 or 3 like heads or whatever. If you know what I mean? If I try to measure them separate, usually I just think of it as one, goddess, but if I try to think of them separate, I think of them like that. And that's also why I usually say Cybele Rhea or Cybele or Rhea, whatever you call her. Watchers of the channel should recognize that phrase. And really the only deities that I can kind of consider the same are Cybele Rhea. And I guess Ares and whatever he had going on in Asia Minor, and whatever else he had going on outside of mainland Greece. Like I said with Ishtar and Aphrodite, I do think they're pretty much separate, except in some rare cases, like for example when she's first being brought over. For other deities, they don't really have any important syncretism that I think about or use in my daily practice. It's really only Cybele Rhea, though usually on my own I just like to use the name Cybele. And it seems like from this paper that I'm reading, that I'm about to cite to you, it is likely that the ancient Cybele, in name, actually got her mother's symbolism from Rhea. From the paper, Etymological Proposals for the Mother of the Indo-Europeans, Demeter, Cybele, and Rhea, by Massimo Fongaro. As Lynn Roller has pointed out, the Greeks and later the Romans transformed the cult and iconography of the Phrygian goddess. Originally, the Anatolian goddess was connected to mountains, wilderness, and springs. Attestations of lions were scarce, musical instruments are absent. The character of motherhood and fertility is also uncertain. Similar observations can be made about her name. As Phrygian language inscriptions attest, Phrygians called their goddess Matar. The most famous text is Matar Kybele, but Kybele is only an epithet associated with Matar. In Phrygian text, Matar was also associated with toponyms. Cybele probably referred to the type of mountain. The Greek name Cybele, Kuveion, can be clarified with the Babylonian language of the time. The name is composed of 2 components, Akkadian Kabu, meaning of cliff, rock, and Elu, which means tall or high. So Cybele names the type of mountain. Kabu plus Elu equals Cybele equals high cliff equals rocky mountain. This is why I think syncretism is super cool. When we take this from a religious aspect, we can just say that indeed Cybele and Rhea are the same goddess, just that her name represents 2 aspects of her. Cybele, her wild mountain cult, and Rhea, the mother of the gods and all humans. While she can be known by either name, knowing both brings both her aspects to our mind and allows us to experience her fully. This paragraph also explains it and shows how the worship was similar before the conflation. So we return to the island of Crete, where it all began. We know that Rhea was worshipped in Crete, and that her cults used singing and dancing, accompanied by a large tapanium, a large handheld drum, to induce religious ecstasy. Static rites were very ancient. Tympanums drawn on large bronze discs dating from I have no clue what that says. I'm guessing like 50th or something like that. And something centuries BC, have found in Cretan caves. I'm sorry, y'all. It's Roman numerals with all the L's and stuff. I'm looking it up. Okay, y'all. I'm sorry. I have no clue what years these say because it's in Roman numerals. And when I tried to translate it, apparently where I copy and pasted it from, it was, I guess, wrong somehow. But anyway, just know that it's V, and this is ILL, but I think it's VLLL, and then VLL. Centuries BC, have found in Cretan caves. I'm sorry, everyone. But anyway, this fact shows the elements of ecstatic religion were part of the cult of Cretan Rhea long before she was identified with Cybele. I think Rhea was a new hypostatus of the name Demeter. Her name expressed the concept of a generating mother. We can clarify the etymology of the name Rhea or Rhea, two different spellings, Greek Peia or Paia, with the Babylonian language of the time, from the Akkadian verb rehu or rahu, meaning to sire or to beget. Now, that's enough academics, am I right? Now, you wanted to incorporate syncretism into your daily religion. It's pretty easy, as you can imagine. You don't have to merge two deities into one, but you can see them as aspects of each other. Me personally, I don't really pay attention to other religions enough to be doing that, but if you do, go for it. Of course, just remember to be respectful as usual. Names are often used as epithets for deities from our religion, Hellenic, for example, Aphrodite, Hera, and then of course from other religions like Astarte, Palestine, Aphrodite, Urania, which is a long one, I know, but you can always go for it. And then from what I remember, I'm pretty sure Athena Minerva is also a popular one, but don't take my word for it. But anyway, go wild. Like I said, just stay respectful and stay away from close practices. Anyway, you made it to the end of the video. I know I'm back so soon, not really, but don't get used to it. This video idea just popped in my brain, and I have no clue what the next one's gonna be. So I'm just gonna take it on a day-by-day basis, and I'm just glad to be making videos at all. God's willing, I'll make another one soon. I'm trying to think of what my next idea will be. So, if you have any ideas, you can type it down in the comments. But, if you don't have any ideas, then that's on me. But anyway, today's hymn will be to... You know what? I think I already did this one, but let's just do the Orphic hymn to Rhea. Mighty Rhea, daughter of many-faced Protojonos. I have done this one. I remember this now. But anyway. Your sacred chariot is drawn by bull slayers. You dance to the sound of drums and cymbal. O frenzy-loving maiden, O mother of Zeus, Aegis-bearing lord of Olympus. Illustrious and honored, Cronos' blessed consort, you delight in the mountains and in the horrid shriek of mortals. Strong-spirited Rhea, queen of queens, lover of the battle din, lyre, savior, redeemer, first by birth, mother of gods and mortals, from you come the earth and the wide sky above, and the sea and the winds. Ethereal and restless, come, O blessed goddess, O gentle-minded savior, come, bring peace and wealth and abundance of possessions, and do stand death and filth of pollution to the ends of the earth. Thank you again for watching, and I love you all. Hopefully I'll be back soon with another banger. But until then, just wait patiently for me. Love y'all. Bye. And God love you as well. Don't forget. Bye.